Good evening, allies and community members of the Naperville and greater area. My name is Elizabeth Cervantes. Thank you. Short people problems. And I represent over 1,000 suburban immigrant families that form the Southwest Suburban Immigrant Project, SSIP. A community-led immigrant rights and social justice organization based in Bolingbrook, Illinois, and serving Will and DuPage counties. Tonight is a true testament to the America that we are. An America that does not believe in concentration camps and believes in everyone's dignity, no matter what they look like or what country they're from. So I feel really proud to be standing in solidarity with you all tonight to say no more, no más. The 2016 presidential election marked a new direction in the course of the history of this country. I remember that night like it was yesterday. I was in a room with 60 other SSIP members after a long day of getting out the immigrant vote. Our youngest volunteer there was 9 years old. We had been making calls, we had been knocking on doors to remind our community that their vote matters and that they have a place in this democracy, even when the mainstream message often tells them otherwise. By the end of that night, we knew our lives had changed. And it wasn't about politics or parties anymore. That night, a campaign promised to criminalize and erase the existence of immigrants of color crystallized. That promise turned into destructive policies that have led us to the humanitarian crisis on the border you are now seeing. The racist othering of people in this country did not start with immigrants from Mexico and Central America. Actually, the current crisis has its roots in the first encounters between colonizers and native peoples. And it continued through the era of slavery, the migration of the Chinese during the Industrial Revolution, and the Bracero program during the mid-20th century. The only thing, though, that ended these shameful periods in our history was a movement of resistance, much like today. So now, you've read the stories, you have seen the pictures of what is happening on the southern border. More children have died in immigration custody in 2019 than in the past 10 years altogether. And beyond the headlines, ICE quietly opened up 3 new detention centers in the South. And immigrant communities in Illinois live with the fear of imminent immigrant raids this weekend, as stated by Trump, promising to rip 1 million families apart. No more, no más. As the director of organizing and co-founder of SSIP, I go into the office every single day, committed to empowering immigrant families through leadership development, youth development, and civic development. And every day, I hear a consistent theme in their stories, whether they are parents, elders, youth, U.S.-born citizens in a mixed status families, or even legal permanent residents. They are scared. They live in fear of what's happening at the border, because it could be their family members. They live in fear of encountering ICE on their way to work and not seeing their children again. They live in fear of going back to countries in turmoil, extreme poverty, and violence. They live in fear. Last year, during the month of May, ICE came into our communities. I don't know if you remember that. And they terrorized people. Town centers like Collins Street in Joliet and main roads like Route 53 became ghost areas. ICE used racial profiling to pull people of color over on the excuse of a traffic violation, followed by intense questioning and intimidation practices. They arrested over 160 people without the consistent use of warrants, violating all of the rules of due process process and human rights. ICE is an agency that has no regard for the law. Isn't that ironic? Yeah. ICE is an agency that has zero accountability. We haven't funded a wall so far, but we continue to fund ICE. Let me remind us of this. Per the US Constitution, every single human being in this country, regardless of immigration status, has rights and should have the opportunity to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. SSAP believes fully in that. But for that to be a real promise for everyone, we have to stand up and hold ICE and this administration accountable. It's time to abolish ICE. We have lived without ICE before, 16 years ago, and we can do it again. This is our country. It's your country. And what we do will shape the next history chapter. I know that my own family was driven to this country on the premise of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I came to the US with my family at the age of 2. I grew up in this country, I went to college here, and I have dedicated myself to this community. And I cannot imagine what my future would have been like under an administration that tears children from their mother's arms. And I will not, and I cannot stand on the sidelines and let my own family and countless other families get ripped of their dignity. So, if you're tired of what's happening like I am, you can join me in all or any of the following steps of action besides tonight, this weekend. Number 1, you can join us at a rally tomorrow to end detention at the Daily Plaza in Chicago from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And SSAP will have a group of people leaving from the Bolingbrook area at 9 a.m. Number 2, you can volunteer this weekend to pass out Know Your Rights cards to community members in your church, or you can join one of our existing teams. Number 3, if you're a U.S. citizen, you can become an ally and participate in our ICE Watch Group, where you would be trained to identify and verify immigration activity in your community or your block. And last but not least, follow us on social media to stay up to date and for more ways to get involved, because there's so much more we can do. And you might have received a little paper with all that info and our Facebook page, our Twitter, and everything in social media wise. So to sign up or to get involved with anything coming up, you can come talk to me, or you can just call or message our office. I really thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here. My heart is beating really fast. For being here and for resisting, because this is the America that I know we are.